The town of Dry Creek was a blistering spot of dust and desperation nestled between two ridgelines that turned red beneath the sunset. Trouble brewed there like coffee left too long on the fire, bitter and inevitable. Catherine Langley stood in front of the makeshift court, her shawl clutched tightly around her shoulders. Her dark hair was streaked with ash, and her hands trembled slightly as her son, Eli, clung to her skirt. Guilty. The marshal barked, his sun-wrinkled face hardened with disinterest. You aided a known horse thief. Your husband's crime doesn't die with him, Mrs. Langley. And since you have no coin to pay your fine, we pass you to the custody of a man outside town, Jedediah Boone. He'll take you and your child as recompense. A murmur went through the saloon's makeshift courtroom. Jedediah Boone, the mountain man. He lived alone past Widow's Ridge, said to be part bay, part myth, and entirely too wild. No woman had ever lasted under his roof. Some swore he'd buried a wife up in those hills. Others whispered he spoke to wolves. But Catherine had no choices left. She only had her boy and a stubborn flicker of dignity. Chapter 2. The Mountain Man. Jedediah Boone arrived at dusk. He came down from the hills wrapped in a coat made from the hide of a bear he'd killed himself. His beard was thick, his eyes like granite under storm clouds. He didn't say much, just grunted and nodded when they handed Catherine and Eli over. The townsfolk laughed. Take care now, widow, one hollered. Don't let the wolves eat Y.A. Boone turned sharply, his stare slicing the man's grin clean off. He took Catherine's arm, not roughly, but firmly, and led her and Eli to a mule-drawn wagon. Not a word was spoken until they creaked up into the hills, beyond sight of Dry Creek. Then his voice came, deep and ragged like distant thunder. I don't punish women or children, he said. Whatever the town thinks, I ain't like them. Catherine looked sideways at him, her pride refusing to bend. Then what do you want with us? He paused. Company. And maybe a second chance at something I thought was long dead. Chapter 3. A House in the Wild. Jedediah's cabin was perched at the edge of a cliff, overlooking a sweep of forest below. The structure was sturdy and clean, made with care by callous hands. Catherine expected filth and chaos, but found warmth, a fire always lit, a wooden cradle tucked in the corner, and dried herbs hanging from beams. You were married before, she said one night, folding laundry. Boone didn't look up from sharpening his axe. A long time ago, she died birthing our son. Pain flickered behind his eyes like lightning behind clouds. Mine died running from the law, Catherine replied. Took a bullet meant for someone else. Town blamed me for hiding him. They were quiet a while. I didn't help him steal anything, she added softly. I believe you, he said. That was the beginning. Chapter 4. Of Wolves and Men. Life in the mountains was hard. Snow fell early, and wolves circled the outer trees. Boone taught Catherine to trap, to shoot, to cook wild meat. Eli took to Boone quickly, following him like a pup. One night, Catherine awoke to howling. She rushed to the door and found Boone outside, standing barefoot in the snow, rifle in hand. A pack of wolves sat 20 paces away, eyes gleaming. They won't attack, Boone said, not turning. They've learned I ain't prey. Catherine shivered. You're not afraid. I used to be. Of losing people. Of failing. He turned to her. Not anymore. Not when there's something to protect. Something changed then. She felt it. The way he looked at her, not with hunger, but reverence. Chapter 5. Fire and Blood. Spring came late, but it came with trouble. Bandits, a gang Boone had once ridden with years ago, come to collect what they thought he owed them. They found his cabin. So Catherine, so the boy, and grinned. You gone soft? Jed, their leader sneered. We'll take the woman. Maybe teach the boy how real men live. Catherine stepped in front of Eli, heart pounding. But Jedediah Boone didn't hesitate. He shot the first man dead, then spun and took cover. Catherine grabbed the rifle he'd taught her to use, breathing hard, and took position beside him. Bullets flew. Wood splintered. The child screamed. When it was over, 3 men lay dead. 1 fled, bleeding into the trees. Boone was shot in the side. Catherine knelt beside him, hands bloody. "Don't you dare die on me, mountain man." He smiled faintly. "Not when you finally started calling me yours." Chapter 6. Redemption. Boone lived. The wound scarred over. The townfolk heard what happened. Heard how the widow fought beside the outlaw, how she guarded her boy with a rifle and a snarl. Some came with food. Others came with offers, jobs, supplies, apologies. Boone rejected most. Catherine accepted some, carefully. She no longer bowed her head. One evening, she found Boone carving something by the fire. A wooden ring. "I ain't got much," he said, "but I've got hands that can build, a heart that's healed, and a will to be your man if you'll let me." Tears welled in her eyes. "You already are," she whispered. Chapter 7. The Perfect Match. The wedding was small, just a preacher from town, a handful of neighbors brave enough to make the climb, and Eli holding a flower crown he'd made himself. Catherine wore a dress sewn from old lace and Boone flannel. Boone wore a bay-tooth pendant and a smile wider than any canyon. They kissed beneath the pine trees as snow melted into spring. Love had found them, not in the places where it was supposed to live, not in parlors or poems, but in hardship, in firelight, in shared scars and slow healing. A widow, a child, a mountain man once cast aside, now a family.